Well, it's Good Friday this morning, and one of the traditions our family has tried to keep on Good Friday and the weekend of Easter is simple food. Something that's not extravagant, something that reminds us that simplicity can lead to humility, can lead to appreciation of the wonderfulness that we have through God's gifts to us. This morning I was reading about the Last Supper and Jesus washing the feet of his disciples, and it struck me how allowing somebody to wash your feet requires a vulnerability, a humility. And if we don't allow Jesus to wash our feet, to sit under him, we're not allowing ourselves to be vulnerable and humble. I also read from Bishop Barron. He's a bishop in Santa Barbara, California, and he had this wonderful thing to say about happiness. Happiness is never a function of filling oneself up. It is a wonderful function of giving oneself away. So I hope this Good Friday, this Easter weekend, you understand more about the wonderful gifts that God has given us and seek happiness by giving yourself away to others. This morning, I'm going to make a big pot, an instant pot, of pinto beans. And this is going to take the family through the Easter weekend, and then on Easter Sunday, have a glorious celebration of fine foods. But today, I'm going to make this simple food of pinto beans and serve it with rice, serve it by itself, serve it with tortillas. It's a wonderful meal in and of itself. So let's get started. I have my Instant Pot set on saute, and it's heated up, ready to go. And to it, no oil. I think I mentioned the other day that I'm trying not to cook with oil. This is onions and garlic. You can hear that sizzle go. Just set the camera so it stays. You can hear that sizzle. And this is half an onion and 4 cloves of garlic. You can smell my hands. They smell like garlic. I don't know if anyone knows, but to remove the garlic smell from your fingers after cutting garlic, you rub your hands on a spoon, a stainless steel spoon, and that gets rid of the smell. Now, the onions have sauteed just a little bit. No, again, no oil. I'm going to add, this is 4 small carrots, so it's probably 3/4 of a cup. Just gonna let that cook down a little bit. Then celery. This was the last of my celery, so it's probably 2 stalks. And I tend to cook with my eyes for color. I love color in the food that I cook. And I had this gorgeous red pepper, bell pepper, that I purchased yesterday, and it's such a beautiful color. I wanted to add that to the beans. So, adding that. And now I want to give some heat to the beans too. So I have 1 jalapeno. It was a pretty hefty looking jalapeno. I'm going to add that in. Now my spices, I'm just going to add salt and pepper. Probably 2 teaspoons. My other spices are coriander, and that's about a teaspoon. Oh, I'm all out of coriander now. Oregano, a teaspoon. Cumin, I like to add a lot of cumin. So I'm going to say that's 2 tablespoons. And because I already added a jalapeno, I'm just going to add a dash of chili powder. Oh, that smells really good. I love the smell of cumin. Now I'm also going to add just a can of diced tomatoes. And today I'm going to be making 3 cups of pinto beans. And you notice these are dry pinto beans. And this is, again, the wonderfulness about the Instant Pot. I can make these beans that are not soaked in the Instant Pot in 30 minutes. That doesn't include the pressuring up of the Instant Pot and the pressuring down. So overall, it's about 45 minutes. But usually, if you did this on the stove, you'd have to soak your beans overnight, and it's probably a 4-hour process if you do cook these on the stove top. But with the Instant Pot, it's about 45 minutes. Okay, so I'm going to put these in and let the juices and the spices coat the beans before I add water. And I'm just checking all my other ingredients to make sure I put them in. And that's the wonderful thing about, I think it's pronounced mise en place, where you chop up all your vegetables, you have all your spices out, and they're out in front of you, rather than picking out your ingredients one by one. Have it all set before you so that you can see, yes, everything's in there. So now I'm going to add water. You can add stock, and sometimes I add vegetable broth, but this time I'm going to add just plain water. And you add enough water that covers the beans. So that's 3 cups of beans, that's 4 cups of water, and I'm going to add 3 more cups of water to that. Another good thing to put in would be a bay leaf, but I don't have a bay leaf. Yep, that's good. 7 cups of water. To 3 cups of beans. So now I'm going to turn it off saute and put the lid on. Make sure it's set, and I'm going to add the time to 30 minutes. And there we go. One other thing I'm going to start today, I just read a book called Sourdough that my son got me for fun, and it was about an author, it was about a computer programmer who is given a starter of sourdough, and it changes her life. I've always wanted to do sourdough bread, but I always end up killing the starter. So after reading this book, I decided, okay, I'm going to give it another try. And with doing these videos and being stuck at home, I thought, well, why not? So I'm going to start my starter. It takes about a week for it to get to that point where it's ready to use. So in a non-reactive bowl, glass bowl, ceramic bowl, I have 1 cup of whole wheat flour. I'm going to use a wooden spoon, not a metal spoon, and a 1/2 cup of cool water. I'm just going to make sure that's all stirred together and that there's no clumps of dryness. Every bit of the flour is moistened. That was for Sheila Williams. And we're going to let this, I'm going to transfer this to another non-reactive utensil, mason jar. And this is a quart mason jar. And I'm going to put my start in there and cover it loosely overnight. And tomorrow we'll come back to it on Good Friday and see how it looks. So the beans are done, and I've let them sit in the pot for about 2 hours, and we're going to take a look at them, open it up, steaming. So this is what they look like. Smell really good. They're nice and tender. So I know that I don't need to cook them any longer. Now if I wanted to make refried beans, I would scoop them out into a frying pan with a lot of the juice too and just refry it, hence refried beans. Other than that, I would serve these with the polenta that I made last night. That would be a good thing. Rice, couscous, noodles, potatoes would be good too. Or do the refried beans and serve that with tortillas. So like I said, this is a great meal to have over and over again during Easter weekend. Hope you enjoy it.